All right, everybody. Welcome to our podcast.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So we are gonna introduce each other. I mean, everybody after for a minute or so. Yvette is going to explain what our podcast is about.
Welcome to the No Judgment Zone, where you can say what you feel and feel what you say. Just come real. Step inside and be healed. We're dropping gems and keeping it real.
Yes.
We are the
The aunties. Over here. We ain't live today, but we will be eventually. So we are the aunties, and this is our opinion, solely our opinion. Our information we get off maybe the website or different sites, but we are not professionals, nor are we pretending to be. But we do have professionals on the line here. So we want to introduce each one of you guys. First, we're going to go with which one? Michelle. Miss, tell us a little bit about yourself, just a little bit brief.
Michelle is what family and friends call me. Professionally, I go by Dolores Archibald. I am a mental health therapist. Currently, I live in Alabama, and I've been down here 2 years. And I'm sorry, the alarm just went off. I work at Auburn University through them at a facility for young men who are 12 and up who are there for being sex offenders, and it's called DYS, which is the Department of Youth Services. They have committed some sort of sexual offense and are being treated through our program.
Okay. Thank you. Welcome. Next,
Thank you.
Miss Baldwin, Nicole.
Hello, everybody. My name is Nicole, and I am a registered nurse for 10 plus years. I've been in the medical field for over 20 years. I work with adults mostly as a nurse, and I love what I do. And I love to help people and to help people to see, at least try to help them see that they do have a purpose in life. And I'm grateful to be here on today.
Thank you. Welcome. And Me has been on our podcast many times. Me don't want to disclose what she do. Will me be talking this time?
Oh my gosh. My name is Tiffany, for anybody who's curious. God has gifted me with a huge brain to know a lot of stuff and to be able to explain things.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Tiffany. Okay, Miss Hendricks, thank you for joining us. We were waiting on you.
Hey,
Did
yeah.
you let us? Miss Hendricks has been on our platform many times. We are speaking on mental health awareness and period mental health, and she has been really informing us about a lot of things. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, I am a licensed professional counselor. I have a background in working with survivors of domestic violence, community mental health services, women's issues, adults and children, juvenile who have been in the criminal system. So wide background, but most of all a Christian, a woman of God who loves the Lord and who loves helping people.
All right now. Welcome. So
welcome.
not well, Miss Teresa, she is one of our regular guests. She's on here to gain information. And so today we're talking about mental health and the the subtopic, which is trauma. And I just gonna say a little bit about mental health. Includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It affects how we think, feel, act. It also helps determine how we handle stress related to others and make healthy choices. Again, if you are having a crisis or you need to speak with someone, what's that number again? Is it 988, Miss Hendricks?
Yes, it is. You
Okay.
can call or text.
Okay. Mental health has many aspects in it, and we talked about depression. We talked about anxiety and a number of things. Today, we're talking about trauma. What actually is trauma? I'm going into what is trauma first. It results from exposure to an incident or a series of events that are emotionally disturbing or life threatening with lasting adverse effects on an individual's functioning and mental, physical, social, emotional, and or spiritual well-being. When I looked it up, the word trauma comes from the Greek word for wound or hurt. People who experience a highly stressful event may have trouble returning to a normal state of mind afterwards. In some cases, they develop a mental health disorder related to the experience. This is known as a trauma disorder. Wow. And y'all know what? I didn't know PTSD, post traumatic stress disorder, was, I don't know why that, I didn't know that was part of a mental health situation. I honestly, I'm learning. What is, you see that sun, y'all, a lot. Yvette, you got something to add to it?
Not yet. Go ahead.
Okay. Uh, PTSD develops when the symptoms of trauma persist or get worse in the weeks and months over the stressful event. PTSD is distressing and interferes with a person's daily life and a relationship. Symptoms include, wow, severe anxiety, flashbacks, persistent memories of the event. Wow, 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 wow. So most people who experience a traumatic event do not develop PTSD. That is good to know. So I just want to know, Miss Hendrick, since you are a professional counselor, um, in relate, and do you see a lot of that come through your office? PTS. I'm going to start with that. PTSD. Do you see a lot of that?
Can I ask a question? Before she answered that, could you tell me the difference between PTSD and trauma?
Are
Is
you,
it
are you
is it
asking me or are you asking her to repeat something?
I'm asking you,
Oh, you
is it yeah, what's the difference? Is it a difference?
Mm-hmm. So trauma is the experience itself, right?
Mhm.
Trauma is the event that has occurred that may bring on the symptoms of PTSD. So your trauma may be um, that you were in a car accident,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Okay.
Being in the car accident itself, that was the trauma.
Um.
So as a result of being in that car accident, you might have nightmares. You might be scared to get in a car. You might be scared to ride down a certain street.
Okay, got it.
Things like that. Those are symptoms of PTSD.
Okay.
Okay, so I didn't read that part, but experiences may just not, because I know trauma can happen from a head injury, whatever, but I wanted to know more of psychological. Like it's other things that can happen, like child abuse, physical, sexual abuse, child neglect. This would loss, racism, discrimination. It's a lot of things that can cause trauma. It just not does not mean just because you have a head injury. Because when I was studying, I was like, okay, Usually we say trauma, it's like, oh, well, somebody had a car accident or got hit in the head, whatever. But no, there are things that can happen to a person in their lifetime over a childhood span from childhood to adult that can cause trauma. So your experience, and I will get to Miss Dolores because she knows a lot about the child expect. I know you guys do too, but we have heard. I want to hear from her too. As far as she already asked a question about well, she said it's trauma. What's the difference? Trauma, mental health. Trauma is part of, well, people can go through mentally their experience. Trauma is the experience, correct? Could you explain more into of experience when a person come in your office, not just a head injury, but what they have experienced over physical abuse? You just said you deal in sexual,
Yeah. And so, I mean, PTSD, those symptoms can be brought on from anything. It's not a black and white situation. Just like someone's traumatic experience, it's not a cut and dry black and white because we may have gone through the same experience. I may have been in the car with you going through and had the car accident. My level of trauma from that may be minimum, or yours may be more severe. And so there's not a cut and dry, there's not a right and wrong, right? And PTSD can be brought on from anything because it's essentially something that is recurring for an extended period of time, right? It's interfering in your day-to-day business. It's interfering in you sleeping. It's interfering with you being able to take care of your home or your children or your professional life, right? And it causes all these different things: anxiety, depression, fear. It may cause insomnia. Any number of things. And it can be brought on from anything, something that you see, something that you hear, something that you smell, riding down a certain street, right? And so those things, as far as being able to manage PTSD, like it's something that that's a term that people throw around very freely. And so it's a matter of being knowledgeable, because everything is not PTSD. Sometimes you're just having a flashback. Sometimes you're just experiencing anxiety. And so, in short, it requires a proper diagnosis and things like that from, a professional, but be aware and know that you can absolutely experience those symptoms. And yes, those things can be pretty common.
Anything else, Yvette? Before I move to Nicole.
No, go ahead.
Nicole, Miss Nicole Baldwin. You work in a hospital. Do you see a lot of patients coming in with first of all, do y'all have what is, I don't want a psych ward? I don't want.
Yes,
Okay.
some hospitals do.
Okay.
And then some people have to be referred out to just a facility that deals with just that type of those type of patients or clients.
So how do you handle when a person come in? Do y'all diagnose it? Well, I know y'all don't.
Generally, when you're speaking of diagnosing, they have to be diagnosed by either an MD or a psychiatrist or a psychologist or someone in that field. As on the nurse aspect, we see the signs, the symptoms, and then we are responsible for collaborating with the physician or with whatever teammate that is assigned to that person, to that patient. We have, so we have to definitely keep our eyes open when they come to the floor, to the units where we see them. They've already either been diagnosed or they haven't been diagnosed yet. And if there are certain things that we see or the physician sees, then that's when they start doing what we call referrals or consults where they'll have other teams come in and consult with the patient, and then they might start working on the diagnosis from there. But generally, most of the patients that I see are already diagnosed. So you have to be, and I like the term that you guys use for your podcast, non-judgmental. I love that term because to me, when someone comes in your environment to get care and then you're judging, you're just adding to the trauma. You're adding to their experience. That's not a good conducive environment for them to heal. So I love that non-judgment zone. I don't know why I can't say that word today, but yeah, I love that. But yeah, every shift I'm at work, there's someone there at all times that has some type of history of a traumatic event in their life, and everybody responds differently to trauma. Sometimes it's not ordinary to see some of these responses where we think that if somebody loses a family member or if somebody is raped or whatever it is, they're laughing and instead of crying, or their response is not a typical, then I see people judging on that. And you shouldn't do that because everybody's response to trauma is totally different. We might have 10 people that have the same response, but then you have another 10 people with a different response. It just depends on the person and how they are equipped emotionally to handle stress. Yeah.
Stress.
That's really what it is. Is stress. Some is a higher level stress, mid level, low level.
Right.
Yeah.
So so trauma or anxiety. I have just read while some anxiety symptoms and PTSD symptoms clearly overlap, the difference is that with anxiety, so the writer says, the intrusive thoughts, persistent worry, and other difficulties are generally not tied to a specific or past event, whereas PTSD is. I want to go to Yvette. You need something? You want to?
I'll ask it after. Go ahead.
I want to go to it because this young lady is actually wow. When I heard a little bit about the story where she works at, it just threw me like that. Children actually go through this type of situation. Could you come on, Dolores, and let us know? I don't think Miss Hendricks know where you work at, and is that like something that you see far as out of children? Because I read that it stems a lot from childhood because children are so what's the word I want to use? Impressed. Oh, you were muted. You muted, lady. You muted.
You said Pacific.
Dolores. You muted. Okay, you was muted. I'm going to what I was going to go into. Childhood trauma research indicates before you start indicates that children are especially vulnerable to trauma because their brains are still developing. Children experience a heightened state of stress during terrible events, and their bodies release hormones related to stress and fear. The type of development trauma and can disrupt normal brain development. As a result, trauma, especially ongoing trauma, can significantly affect a child's long-term emotional development, mental health, physical health, and behavior. The sense of fear and helplessness may persist in adulthood. So, Bryce, I just want to know what your thoughts are for a child that you actually come in contact with daily.
Right. I've been a therapist since 2006, and prior to moving to Alabama, I worked in Michigan. So I worked at I don't know, some of the therapists on here may know. I worked at Harbor Oaks for a while. I worked at the guidance center where we would go out and do mental health screenings. And so, like you said, with the trauma, it can come from, I've come across a lot of teens who have been raped. I've come across a lot of teenagers who inherited, unfortunately, some mental health situations from their mom. Like when I worked in the mental health hospital, I would have a parent who come every Friday because she's going out to the club. She would bring her child to the hospital to get treatment. She would lie on her child, and that could be
Mhm.
traumatic as well. She would say her child is doing this, that, and the other
Wow.
when the child is not doing that. But we would have no choice but to keep that child because the mother is the primary, caregiver, and so she's lying on this young lady, and so she ends up with a PTSD diagnosis from a psychiatrist because she's reacting to the things that her mom is saying about her that are not true. Like she'll say that she's trying to hurt herself, she's trying to hurt her mom when she was not doing that. The mom was using the child was using Harbor Oaks as a babysitting facility for her. And recently down here, I had a child. He's 18 now, but his grandmother would do things to him, who would call him all kinds of names, who would terrify him by beating him. And so he has, again, the PTSD symptoms. Like he didn't like to be in a room by himself. If you touched him from the back unexpectedly, he would jump and respond to all. That's how he would respond. And then if he didn't know you, he would curse you out if he didn't have if you just kind of surprised him or came upon him, or you didn't have a good relationship with him. So that's the part where growing up and you come into that stage. To those are some of the symptoms that Miss Hendricks was talking about, that you can develop. And of course, with a rape victim, you can, they don't want to be, both male and females don't want to be around others. They don't want anybody saying anything to them. They don't want anybody to kind of course, to touch them, and those things like that.
What is some of the treatments? I mean, I know you work in that area. What are they actually doing to actually help the child cope with whatever they're going through?
Where I work at right now, we do counseling. We do, and we also do what's called trauma focused therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And what that is that we are specifically not taking them back to the trauma, but having them to voice and talk about the things that have led them to come um, to end up where they're at, and they can process. We call it process the trauma. There are certain stages that they go through. With the children we involve, the parents, at some point in time, the parent comes in to kind of talk about what they've done to help the child through the stages that they're going through. I just had a child who, unfortunately, he's been in situations to where he's been shot at and several times because of the area that he lives in. So he has PTSD from that. So
Wow.
if he hears loud noises, he jumps. But they just kind of process their feelings, their thoughts, and how they responded to those situations that they've been in.
Okay.
So it's more of a talk therapy kind of thing.
Okay. So Yvette, you got a question?
Yes. At what point would a child or an adult have to be removed from society? You said you do counseling. I mean, at what
Yes,
point
ma'am.
would they be a danger to society?
You mean,
I mean,
when you ask that question, are you asking to themselves or to others in general?
to others or themselves.
I can speak more to themselves, and that would be if they're voicing that suicidal ideations, that they think about hurting themselves all the time, that they want to hurt, that they want to end their lives because of things. I'll give an example. I had a really good friend. She,
Mm-hmm.
at the time, was probably about 30 years old.
Mm-hmm.
She had been sexually assaulted by her stepfather when she was younger. Her brothers did not really have a good relationship with her. She was the only girl in the family. And so she found it hard to develop relationships. So one day, I got a call that she was in the hospital because she tried to kill herself. And that was based on the fact that a relationship that she was in, the person was rejecting her. And that all stemmed from her childhood. And she was in, they put her in a medically induced coma for a while. And then, of course, when she got out, they put her in a psychiatric hospital for about a month. So that's the part that I can speak to about, hurting themselves, about being removed from society for a little while for themselves so they can get her treatment. Maybe Miss Hendricks can address the, moving from society because of wanting to harm others.
Mm-hmm. I mean, essentially, someone would be, if someone is displaying any type of behaviors or verbally stating that they are thinking of hurting themselves or someone else in general, that's cause enough to, okay, we need a higher level of care. So even if they're, because the removal from society, if you will, might be just going to the emergency room and having that stay there. And so it depends, because some people are able to go depending on the severity of their condition. Some people are able to, okay, you're saying that you're having thoughts of hurting yourself. Some people can work through it, and it depends, because if they have a plan, if they have access to be able to make this thing happen, and if they're in a place like, yeah, tonight I'm going home and doing this, then that's a totally different deal.
Yeah.
But in general, if someone is like, yeah, I'm I want to hurt someone, and they are actively performing or, letting you know in some way that this is about to be an issue where they are hurting themselves or someone else, then yeah, we get them to the nearest emergency room. They may be able to go and be released. They may have to stay a few days, or they may have to go to an extended facility like Harbor Oaks, Stonecrest, or the one of those places. Um, it just depends.
Okay. Yeah, I had just found out my granddaughter, she's in the 8th grade, and a male student attacked her in the classroom, beat her head, bammed her head on the desk. Wow. The teacher was outside, and she's been having headaches ever since. So.
Wow.
And he was really big, probably had felt like 2 or 3 times.
Wow.
Yeah, so keep her in y'all prayers.
For sure. For sure.
And so Nicole, you said she been having headaches. Have she been to a doctor or?
She went to the hospital.
Okay. Okay. So Nicole, now I know what do y'all do to when that happens to treat patients like that when they come through you guys?
Well, the first thing that we do is whenever anyone is admitted to the unit, there's a template that we have to follow with questions. And
I
these
love your glasses.
The question. Thank you. The questions kind of tailgate us to where and how they should be treated. Like it asks about suicidal ideology, if they have a plan, if they acted on the plan before, if they have any intentions when they get home to act on the plan. So it goes through all of these different questions, and it kind of tells us how, what to do next and how to handle those situations. But for sure, if someone definitely displays those type of ideations, or if they express them verbally or behaviorally, then we have to take those next steps to alert the physicians, the staff. Sometimes the patients are given medications, oral medications, IV medications, or the next step, if it's really severe, then they're going to be looking at doing the consult to admit them to a facility, or even into that the hospital may have their own unit for those type of things. So it just, it just depends. But definitely we do have things. I don't want to say too much, because sometimes when
Mhm.
people know,
Mhm.
they know how to behave to avoid that stuff. So I don't want to say
Oh,
too much.
wow.
But
Okay.
yeah, so we have a lot of things in place to handle. Not always every nurse is capable of handling those type of patients, and
Okay.
that's where it gets to a point where we have to make sure the nurse assigned to that patient is experienced enough. They know how, they know how to handle
Mhm.
those patients,
Mhm. Mhm.
because it could be a traumatic event for the staff, you know.
Okay.
So yeah, just to be on the real side.
Okay.
I've had patients that were employees who were harmed and hurt from a psych patient, and like literally really damaging to them, So
Well, could a person be going through PTS, what is it, and not know it?
yeah, because
Wow.
they haven't been
Yes.
diagnosed, or they might not know the terminology. We always in society, we always judge people as being crazy. I hate that word. I hate when people use those terms. They're not crazy.
Right.
These people are experiencing different traumas, you know what I'm saying,
Right.
and they need help. Now,
Right.
it's some evil people out here, don't get me wrong, and they definitely know exactly what they're doing. Not everybody is under the umbrella of having some type of disorder. Some people authentically plan things to harm others. So yeah,
Accent a fool.
yes.
We want to hear from me. Me.
Huh?
Have you? I know you work with school age children. Personally, have you? Do you? Can you pinpoint or see that a person has trauma in their life? A little, you want them little cheering, you be.
Yes, but you absolutely can. And it can manifest in different ways. For example, Miss Hendricks knows the student I'm talking about as soon as I mention it. But there's this little girl um, who's an interesting character, and you can tell that something happened to her in her life, something of a sexual nature, and she now displays predatory tendencies. So it's, if you're actually paying attention, or if you're knowledgeable about certain things that result from trauma, or just having battles with mental health, it's very easy to pinpoint. Um, it's easy to pinpoint when a child struggles with anxiety, or something as, I guess people say, simple as low self esteem, um, low self worth. But you have to be, I would say you have to be open to seeing what's going on, and open to lending a helping hand to try and do whatever you can to change that person's circumstance. But in a child, I think everything stems from childhood. The way that we are, it stems from something that happened in our childhood. The way that I am, it stems from something that happened in my childhood. The fact that I don't like butterflies stems from something in my childhood. And people judge me for that, but it's a legitimate trauma response. So it's just a matter of paying attention and being open and willing to discerning what's going on around you in order to pinpoint these different issues that everyone is facing.
Wow, thank you.
So what's the, if you identify a child with those problems, what's the next step?
Miss Hendricks?
Counseling.
Counseling.
Right.
So
Yeah, you
it
got
definitely
to
depends
send them to a
on,
social worker. Yeah.
say that again. What happened?
Oh no, go ahead. What I was saying. Normally, what they do is send them to a social worker, to the school counselor or a social worker, and like Nicole was saying there's an assessment to be done, that has certain questions and everything on there.
Mhm.
I in my case, it depends on the severity of the situation. So with me, I see a lot of girl drama or friend drama or these little, it's mostly girls growing out of friendships.
Mhm.
And because it's something that may be new for them, it may be a stressful event for them. Do I laugh sometimes? Absolutely. But I also help coach them through it. And I just like, I have to give it to them straightforward. That's not your friend right now. And sometimes friends grow apart. It's okay to make new friends. Sometimes they take that advice, sometimes they don't. At the end of the day, they have to learn on their own. If there's something where a child is expressing they want to harm themselves or something that's completely out of my realm of study at the moment, because I am not licensed to diagnose anybody or to give them the proper treatment. I can talk to them all day because, like I said, God gave me the gift of a big brain. But I will tell Mrs. Hendricks about it, and she will talk to that student. And sometimes I sit in on it just because I think it's interesting and necessary to know. But yeah, it depends on the severity of the situation.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, in our school district is a little unique in that because we have a lot of mental health professionals in our district. And so, we have, school social workers, school counselors, school therapists, such as myself. We have psychologists and psychiatrists. So, like, it's a big team. So it does depend.
Mhm.
But in general, like within the school, because there are therapists there, we would handle the higher level um, issues or concerns with mental health, within the school. And then just like with anywhere else, if it's something that, we can't handle and work through, in the school, or if there is an immediate threat of danger to them or someone else, we go through the same steps just as anyone else, we're calling 911. I complete assessments and things like that within the schools and contact parents and nope, come be on your way right now. Just it depends.
Mhm.
Okay.
Deborah, I love that. It listening to Tiffany and then Mrs. Hendricks and Michelle. It's so important that we have the right people in place. Like, you
Mhm.
know, we have aspirations and goals. Some people aspire to be a teacher, but they're not equipped. I
Mhm.
don't care what degree you have.
Mhm.
Sometimes they're still not equipped to especially when we're dealing with children. They're
Right.
not equipped. And I just
Mhm.
think they let anybody in front of these children and
Mhm.
things happen to these children in the presence of the school,
Mhm.
and it's so sad. So I love that they have that. And you can see that there's a relationship there between Tiffany and Miss Hendricks.
Mhm.
I love that. When your coworkers, you guys can mesh together, but again, like a lot of people, they focus more on, like I was talking about the assessment thing. We focus more on the assessment, where it should really be focused on the assessment and the behavior. Just because I said no to something, that
Mhm.
means nothing because I'm behaving in this manner. I'm showing you what the real is. Because
Mhm.
the paper I filled out, that means nothing most of the time.
Right.
It's the behaviors that you need to look for, the things they say. You know what I'm saying? Those are the things that we really need to pay attention to.
Mhm.
Oh, I love that because I was gonna ask when to seek help. Anybody can answer it. First of all, Teresa, you got a question?
Oh no, I'm just listening.
So when to seek help? When if you guys were okay, because a person's gonna see this, and when should they actually seek help? Seek help because we just said that some people may not know that they are actually dealing with trauma or they haven't faced their fears or stuff that they've been through in the past. So when is it time to seek help?
I would say that. Go ahead, Tiffany.
All right. Well, as I was sitting here listening to y'all talk about PTSD, I realized that there was a point in my life a few years ago where I was actually going through PTSD. Obviously, it was undiagnosed, but there was a situation I had been through. I was coming out of that situation, but I was also going through PTSD, and my mind was under attack. So, um, a lot of things that reminded me of that situation. It's not that I would have, I would be scared of anything, but I developed insomnia and I found myself crying for like a good portion of the day. So, just based on that, I would say, it's time to seek help when you find yourself acting outside of who you really are or outside of your norm. When you can feel within yourself that there's something that may not be quite right, or when you find it difficult to get past something that normally you would have gotten past within a breeze. And I think it's also important, and I would stress this every chance I get, that that it's okay to seek help. It's okay to talk to somebody. It's okay to let a professional know, even if it's not a professional, to let someone know that I'm not okay right now and I just need your shoulder.
Oh my goodness, I
Right now, here's the
absolutely
thing
love
that
it. What'd you say, Mr. Dolores?
no, there's something that I always see on social media is you got this. You're going to be okay. That's not and my thing is stop telling people that you got this, because if they're coming to tell you, if your child is coming to tell you, or an adult is coming to tell you that they have certain things going on, certain feelings, or like, Tiffany just shared, there's things going on where I can look at, say something orange, and it makes me cry all day. No, I don't have it. No, I'm not okay. And especially as African Americans, we have been taught not to go and seek mental health, especially our men, our boys. We teach them, don't cry, don't talk about this stuff. You will be surprised. I'm so surprised because, the facility that I work with right now is just um, males. And I work in a section of it where we treat those who are sex offenders. But then there's another part of this facility that's we dealing with males who have gang activity, who crime and all that. They are through the state. Ours is funded through a different thing. So those ones that are getting who have the major crimes, gang activity, they're not being treated the same as the boys that we deal with. And we tell our boys all the time, hey, it's okay. You don't share certain things. Like I said, as African Americans, there are things that go on in our household that and I've had a young man tell me this, that he was assaulted, but his mother wouldn't let him tell anybody because she didn't want to lose her boyfriend. Like, come on now. You got to deal with things that's in your, you have to put your children first. That's my thing. You can forget about a relationship, because I remember a friend of mine a long time ago. Again, she I keep saying a long time ago because I'm 60 something, and she said she never dated because she didn't want anything to happen to her children. She didn't want to bring a man into the house who was doing certain things to her kids, that she had no control over, things like that. And we see that on the news all the time. That I was just reading down here, this lady, she lost her child because, her boyfriend had been beaten. So yes, we do see things sometimes, and sometimes, unfortunately, we do miss things as well in our children, So like Miss Tiffany was saying, we have to be very diligent. We have to be very on top of our game to really pay attention, especially when you're dealing with children, because that will come up later on. And sometimes if I have been preyed upon as a child, I will then prey upon when I'm an adult. You know, like Miss Tiffany was saying, she can see some things in that young lady that she's been predatory. So she knows some sexual things have come upon her because she's not acting the way that she's supposed to be acting for her age.
Wow.
So we just have to be real diligent with our children. We do.
Thank you. Oh, I love it. I love all y'all. Okay. Cause y'all not only speaking to us, y'all speaking to somebody else that's out here gonna be listening.
Yes.
So it's good to actually
Mhm.
say what you're saying. That was absolutely on point. I love that. And I just thank you. You still stayed over. You said you was going, but you because you
I told
firsthand
you I would
deal
stay as long as you needed me.
you feel firsthand with the children in the system that you're in. It just blew me away with some of the things that she said, and I just couldn't understand. I was like, whoa, whoa. I mean, wow. It's making me like real emotional, like because it's just like, I mean, you a
It can
child
be,
then
yes.
ask for they're just children. And and like you bet, you probably should make sure that she get more help. That could just even because he
Yeah.
slammed her. Okay, who knows what she thinking? Not just the headaches. What her mental state? Well, how is she thinking? What's her mental state like? So yeah, you don't have any more questions, Teresa? So I don't want to take too long because we all got to go. But I thank God for all you guys. You guys I see y'all Christian women on here, and not just Christian women, y'all are professionals. And you just looking at like, well, just because I'm a Christian, this don't happen, blah, blah, blah. It's stuff that actually happen. And it's good to talk to somebody. It's good to be open. It's good to speak your truth, right? And don't be holding back. Go, oh, well, because a lot of us have went through things, and fortunately, what'd you say? How you say it, Tiffany? Go on, say it.
Unfortunately.
No, not unfortunately. I want to say fortunately. Um,
Fortunately.
yeah,
Get it right.
whatever.
What you didn't say right was specifically.
I didn't say Pacific right. I did.
You read it.
I read it and said it right. Oh well, hello. Well, I'm like, cross your eyes. It came across right, right? You knew what I meant, right? Uh-huh. Somebody out there like me gonna know what I mean. That's why it's so important to teach our
Awesome.
children also to be themselves and to not, and also it's okay, like you said, Dolores. Hey, folks be going through stuff. People be having mental battles and they won't say nothing, because of the stigma. Oh, I don't need no. I'm scared to go to a counselor. No, you better go your hips to a counselor. You better go to a counselor,
Right.
see somebody, talk to somebody, open up to somebody. I just read, I won't say her name, but I just love what I read about her and what she said, and she spoke her truth. And I agree with her. I won't say explode because supposedly y'all know what I'm talking about, but she was saying how counseling made a difference in her life of what she was. Everybody ain't your friend, like Tiffany said. It's just how it is, and it's okay. It's okay, people. It's okay. If you need help, seek out for help. All these professionals on here, all these women, and we've all been through things. Some of us been through things more than others. Okay, and all of us should be seeking some type of. If we have any, listen, you don't got to be crazy to go to a counselor. Hey, ain't that right, Nicole?
That's right.
You ain't crazy just because you go to a counselor.
Right.
Hey, you
Yeah.
might need to get some things together. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Some things about you don't like to, period, that you can't deal with, that you had when you was growing up, you still carrying in adulthood, and it's affecting your relationship with everybody. So
Yeah.
get it together. Okay. It's okay to seek out help. It's okay to look in the mirror and say, woo, yeah, there is a God. He is the ultimate true God. And I'm always gonna say that. I'm always gonna say seek God first. And God, if you came to this podcast, it's because God led you. Because me and Yvette, we are women of God, and I want people to be healed through. And it's funny because this mental health thing just keep going on and on because this is what people going through. They hide behind going through stuff. Folks, I mean, I want a breakthrough. Hey, break through your hips on into that counseling office and you get breakthrough. Yes, but God uses people. He uses it now, like Nicole, you don't tell everybody, everybody ain't trained, but he gonna send you to the right person. So let me stop talking. Now, what you want to do, Yvette? You want to say something? Because I am all fired up. I was so excited about, I don't know, I was like, why am I so excited about this? Because people are actually going through, and it's our job to help, whatever ways we can. If we come across somebody
prophetess
acting strange, even in your family, you be like, okay, so she bipolar, but you already know she got issues, and it's like you said, you shouldn't judge, because you make a person not want to come to you. It make a person not want to open up to you. It make a person not be hide there. That's why a lot of people hide, because they scared. Like, I don't want them to know what I'm going through. But it's okay, ma'am, sir, girl, boy, it's okay. Yvette, you muted.
And if I can say also, with your counseling will lead you to forgiveness, which is a big thing too.
Yes.
Release a lot of things,
Yes, true facts.
Yeah.
Yvette.
That was really good. That was good. And I was just saying, it's good to have someone to talk to. If you go talk to a counselor, you ain't got to worry about your mother knowing or your sister knowing. I mean, it's like talking to a stranger. Everyone needs someone to talk to, someone that you can express your deepest concerns with. So
Absolutely.
I think counseling is good for everyone.
Absolutely. You don't gotta be like Miss Indra said, ain't no black, white, gray thing. It's your thing. Because you're gonna get in there. And let me tell you a story for whoever listening. Ain't no way I would be on this type of podcast. I want to talk. Well, everybody know me on here. I'll talk to you on the outside. But when it's a platform, I ain't got nothing to say. So, it's okay to be yourself, quirky and all, different and all. Children, be who God created you to be. It's okay. It's okay if you different. I ain't right, Tiffany. If you want your hair blue,
what do you mean by that?
You just say that. Because you're an example of yourself. Even though you are judged by whoever around you, you still be yourself.
Yeah.
You don't let that. And you may have went through like a little mental stuff. But you realize you are who you are. Like our spiritual dad said, I am who I am. So be who you are, and it's okay to seek help. It's okay to seek out. You don't already have to be. Listen, I know. Yeah, we are ministers of the Lord. We all are. We go to church. You just say that for the sake of people. That's what they call it. But we seek out help, professional. Okay. What you want to say, Teresa? You on there just quiet. We need you to say something because we're ready to get off this podcast.
I was just listening, learning a lot of things.
I have something to say.
But
Okay.
As it relates to trauma. I think the biggest part of trauma, like I said earlier, it all stems from childhood. So a part of counseling, therapy, wherever you may have it, is reconciling whatever happened to you in your childhood in order to propel you into the future that you wish to see. Yeah. So, in a sense, if you neglect to actually take care of yourself mentally or to address those things that cause you trauma, I will never address a butterfly. But if you do not address those things that cause you trauma, then you're essentially allowing that childhood version of yourself to continue to be neglected, or to continue to not receive what you did not receive, instead of going back and actually giving that to yourself, because you owe that to yourself. Like, what happened to you is never your fault, but at some point you have to take on the responsibility of choosing yourself and healing yourself.
That was
We
good.
love it.
Tiffany.
Love it. We love it.
Very well
That's why
put.
we call the nation to the youth. The youth. Love it. We love it. If nobody
Deborah,
else will have what?
I just wanted to say one little thing. When you ask
Okay.
that question, when should you seek out help? I would say to those individuals, if you need help, seek out the help now. Do not wait, because things starts to progress and progress and progress, and it gets deeper and deeper and deeper, and it just turns into a wormhole. So I believe that, seek out somebody that you can trust. Somebody that you can trust, I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah.
Seek out
Yeah.
someone that you can
It helps.
trust,
Yeah.
but don't
It helps
keep
without
waiting.
exposed. You can seek it anonymously. You can
Yes.
text, you
Yeah.
can Zoom, you can FaceTime, you can
Yes.
walk in places. Like, there are places where you can go and people you can seek who will help you, walk you through it. And it may just be you just need to talk to somebody just in that moment. Okay, and now I'm good.
Right.
And you can call them back every day. That's what they're there for.
Right.
They direct you in to where you need to go for long-term services. But if you feel like you need help right now in the moment,
Yeah.
988. You can call it, you can text it, and of course, 911. Don't play about it.
Did you say 988?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's the crisis hotline, the National Crisis Hotline.
Okay. So she said 988 or 911. Okay. So
Absolutely.
make sure you if you like the young ladies who were saying 988 or 911, but always seek out help. And like Nicole said, you can tell everybody, but go to a counselor. Go to a counselor. And we praying for you to be led to a counselor. And he's going to lead you. So I thank you guys. We thank you guys, everybody.
Yes, thank you.
It was
Thank
so
you for inviting us.
I just love it. I feel full. Even though I don't know who fits with this topic, but I feel full. I thank Nicole for coming on your live list, and Miss this one right here, the Lord. She was like, well, she was supposed to come on with this, but it all tied in.
I know, for 15 minutes, right?
Yeah. Thank you, Miss Hendricks. Thank you so much.
But thank you for the invite.
She don't charge us for this, and hey, she got real people coming to her office.
Yeah, like me.
Thank you for you, Tiffany. You are always a joy with your knowledgeable self. Girl, you gotta love it. You girl, tell me I be listening on these podcasts. I be like, hey, I be cheering. You got to hear Tiffany. I believe it. So thank you. Nicole has her own YouTube channel. Tell them your YouTube channel.
It's Beaten with Nicole B. BEAD''N, not S, ''N. Beaten with Nicole B. And that's a goal of my channel as well. Just to share something. I make handmade jewelry. So something to help people to see something softer in life, to make people smile. And I really was excited about the responses that I'm getting from people on my channel. So check it out, Beaten with Nicole B.
Can you put it in the chat?
Sure I will.
Where is it? It might go in the chat. I mean, it only works when we're live. Oh, do it. Well, you can see that.
It's a private chat too.
Take a picture of it.
Oh, I can't even see that.
Take a
wow.
I saw Mrs. Hendricks. She put something in there.
She did. Oh no, I ain't know that.
Do you see what I just put in?
Where? No, I don't see it. I don't
see
Where
that.
where I see it at?
Look
Well,
at
it's on my right hand side.
yeah, on the right hand
It's
side.
on mine too,
at
but
the
I don't
top.
see it. It says stream.
Click
Oh,
on,
maybe
you know, you
because
gotta click on chat.
Or comment.
not
Yeah.
the, it's, you can see that two comments.
Oh, I think I do see it.
Live.
Oh yeah, I see it. Oh, learn something new. I'm in the dark. Oh, I real feel it. Ooh, I feel real. But anyway, y'all, thank y'all so much. Thank y'all so much. I'm gonna start recording, but I'll see you guys.
Thank
Thanks for the
you.
invite.